Drama awaits, only on Echoes of Love. Our film begins with the fall of a massive meteor just outside the Hamburg region, an event that marks the beginning of a full-scale alien invasion of that area, one that no human force is able to stop. A worldwide war soon breaks out between humans and the extraterrestrial creatures, resulting in millions of casualties. But after 5 years, humanity finally begins to make noticeable progress thanks to the invention of the exosuit, which, with proper training, gives soldiers a fighting chance. The best example of its use is Rita, nicknamed the Angel of Verdun. She becomes a symbol of hope in the fight against the aliens, known as the Mimics. We then shift to Major Cage, who heads to the United Defense Force headquarters in London to plan Operation Downfall, a mission aimed at reclaiming territory from the Mimics. Cage meets with the general, who orders him to take part on the battlefield to help promote the war effort, just as he had previously promoted army recruitment and the use of the exosuit. However, Cage vehemently refuses to participate in combat, especially since he has no fighting experience whatsoever. He tries to flee but is captured, knocked unconscious, and sent to the front lines without his knowledge. Cage wakes up to find himself in the combat zone, where he meets Sergeant Farrell and pleads to contact command in Washington. But Farrell tells him that all communications are down because they're about to launch an operation to liberate a region in France, and even if there were a way to contact them, a deserter like him wouldn't be allowed to make any calls. He's assigned to a new squad, where he finds his fellow soldiers secretly playing cards under their blankets. When Farrell catches them, he punishes them by forcing them to eat the playing cards. Then Cage suits up in the exosuit for the first time, barely able to move in it. On the battlefield, Rita herself leads the charge. As their transport plane nears the drop zone, it's hit by a missile, forcing everyone to jump early. It's Cage's first taste of combat chaos. He sees Rita fighting the Mimics bravely, but a missile hits her and kills her instantly. Cage tries to escape the carnage, but his squad stops him. A Mimic then lunges at him, forcing Cage to detonate a grenade, killing both the creature and himself. The shock comes when he wakes up again, back at the front lines, as if everything that happened was just a dream. He sees Sergeant Farrell repeating the same lines as before, leaving Cage utterly stunned and confused. He rejoins his squad, and everything unfolds exactly as before, suiting up, boarding the plane, parachuting into battle, dying, only this time, he remembers everything. During the second battle, he manages to save Rita from a missile that would have killed her, but his suit malfunctions and leaves him immobile. Rita leaves him behind and keeps fighting, while he dies once again at the hands of a Mimic. Cage wakes up for the third time, runs to Farrell, and tries desperately to convince him that a catastrophic ambush is coming, that the Mimics already know about the invasion plan. But Farrell thinks he's insane and orders him restrained and sent back to his squad. Cage tries to prove that he's reliving the same day. He calls out each of his squad members by name, Nance, Kimmel, Ford, Skinner, and Griff, and tells them they were secretly playing cards, and that Farrell is about to punish them by making them eat the cards. No one believes him, and he's quickly silenced by force. The cycle repeats again, the plane is hit, the battle begins, Cage dies, and then wakes up. 4th time. 5th time. 6th time. Each loop sharpens his combat skills, as he fights, dies, and learns from every experience. Eventually, Cage decides to go find Rita and warn her that the Mimics know about the invasion and that the operation will turn into a massacre. But she simply tells him, "Find me when you wake up." Sure enough, after he dies and wakes up again, he behaves like someone who already knows everything, dodging repeated events, hiding the playing cards before they're discovered, greeting his squad by name, and escaping during training to look for Rita, just as she had told him. When he finally finds her, he tells her that she was the one who told him to look for her. She responds, "That's tomorrow." It's then that Cage learns she once had the same ability, to relive the same day over and over again every time she died. That happened because the Mimic he killed was of a special kind whose blood spilled on him. However, she has now lost that ability, and she is helping him get rid of it. But when he helps her achieve victory in the war, she takes him to Carl, a particle physicist who had previously studied Rita's case and is considered the most knowledgeable about the structure of the Mimics. Carl begins explaining how the Mimics work, clarifying that all of them are controlled by the Omega, the central brain that governs them and has the power to control time. Beneath the Omega is the rarest type of mimic, known as the Alpha, which serves as the Omega's right hand. Whenever an Alpha dies, it triggers the Omega to reset the day from the beginning to save it. That is exactly what happened to Cage when he killed an Alpha mimic. Its blood seeped into him, and he inherited the ability to reset the day. Now, Cage is required to die at the end of each day so they can eventually reach the Omega, destroy it, and end the war once and for all. Over time, he is supposed to have visions that will reveal the Omega's location. And here comes Rita's role in helping him destroy it. Rita decides to train Cage so he can help her in the war until they reach the Omega. She warns him that if he gets injured, he must kill himself immediately, because in her last battle, before she lost her ability to reset the day, she was wounded and lost a large amount of blood. Some of another person's blood entered her system, and that was the reason she lost her power. She continues training him until he finally has a vision, just as Carl told him he would, and he manages to identify the Omega's location. He informs Carl and Rita about what he saw, explains the site to them, and they begin devising their plan to destroy it. After many attempts to survive the battle without losing anyone, Cage begins to feel hopeless, convinced that there is no chance of victory or of destroying the Omega. He decides to go alone to confirm that the Omega is actually inside the dam. There, he discovers it was a trap, and that the visions he had seen were false. He kills himself to reset the day and inform Carl and Rita of what happened. Carl tells them that if his device had worked, they would have already known the Omega's real location. He explains that if the device is connected to any Alpha mimic, it can determine the Omega's position through it, and that this device is stored in the government building. Cage and Rita decide to retrieve it. They manage to reach the general, and after many failed attempts to convince him, they hand him the device. However, he orders their arrest. During their escape, Cage tests the device on himself and successfully identifies the Omega's true location, beneath the Louvre Museum. But during the chase, he injures his leg, and both he and Rita lose consciousness. He wakes up tied to a hospital bed after a blood transfusion. Rita comes to help him escape, and they decide to go kill the Omega themselves. Before they leave, they seek help from Cage's squad. He tries to convince them using his deep knowledge of every detail of their lives, explaining that, for him, he has known them for a long time, not just since that day. He asks them to help him and Rita reach the Omega and destroy it, and he succeeds in convincing them. They head toward Paris, to the Louvre Museum, where the Omega resides. But their aircraft is attacked and crashes near the museum. 2 members of the squad sacrifice themselves to draw the attention of the other mimics, allowing the rest of the team to get the aircraft closer to the target. The remaining members die so that Cage and Rita can reach the Omega. There, they encounter an Alpha mimic. Rita tries to hold it off so Cage can reach the Omega, but the mimic kills her and then turns to kill Cage before he can detonate the Omega. Yet Cage manages to set off the explosion and destroy the Omega before the mimic kills him one final time. Cage wakes up on a plane heading to the United Defense Forces headquarters in London. He hears the news of the complete collapse of the alien forces due to a massive energy surge that originated in Paris. He goes to the base and finds his entire squad alive. Then he approaches Rita and realizes that she, too, is still alive. He stands before her silently, a gesture that marks the beginning of their acquaintance once again. Here we reach the end of the video. Subscribe for more.